bust that again. Apparently it's 11 minutes past, I'm told. Time flies when you're having fun. Now, later this morning, Marks & Spencer will update the market with its latest results. Come out at 7 a.m. We'll be bringing them to you on 5 Live Breakfast. Many are predicting another awkward day for the Chief Executive, Mark Bolland. Kate Hardcastle, retail analyst, founder of the consultancy Insight with Passion, joined us. Morning, Kate.
Good morning.
What are you expecting?
Well, I think they'll be talking very much about the temperature and how we've had this warm snap and a few challenges that other retailers have suffered. But the temperature I'd be worried about if I was Marks & Spencer's is that of the customer and their appetite for wanting to shop there and continuing to shop there. I mean, Marks & Spencer's have said now they're very nearly there. It's been a 5-year turnaround programme and they're, on the verge of launching and relaunching a store and their brand and as it should be. And there were signs and excitement when their fashion range and collection started to show, glimmers of hope there from Belinda Earl. But my understanding, speaking to the customers, it's not enough. It's disjointed. They still don't understand what market they're going for. And 5 years in this current retail climate is a very long time. And the other players in the market have just grown and grown.
Mark Bolland has said for quite a long time now that it's a huge turnaround, that he's having to revamp the IT, that he's revamping everything. Is the city beginning to run out of patience with him, do you think?
Well, I think that's the whole challenge. It's 5 years in retail and that is a long time. And yes, infrastructures can be challenging and operations can be challenging. We all have to deal with it. But the communication element of it, sometimes you can be too proud and too insular. And I think you've got to share that, not just with the city, with the customers. The customers don't understand what's going on. They're not likely to pick up a copy of the FT. They want real live information in stores. They want people on the floors. I mean, sometimes the stores themselves are still a desert. And one of the things they really had on their side was customer service. And that's what I'm hearing from customers they're really missing these days, as well as the challenges in fashions.
I guess one thing to just say, though, is that the food side has always done well, hasn't it? It's fashion where the real challenge has been.
Well, that's right. I mean, there have been a few concerns of late that maybe some of the items don't have the quality that they used to have. But genuinely, I think it's a wonderful proposition. You've seen more movement there, opening in service stations, more of the food stores. You know what Marks & Spencer's food is about. And if only they could work out the magic formula to that magic £10 meal deal in fashion, they would get more traction and footfall. But they have those customers and then they can't still get them across. It's a very diverse customer base, but other retailers deal with that. And, maybe it is a case of less is more.
I hate to remind you of this. It's probably about 7 weeks to Christmas. At what point is Marks & Spencer going to press the button and start discounting?
It's 49 days, isn't it? 49 days. Well, I think that retail, as you've seen, it's some great offers out there, lots of 30, 40% off at the minute. People know that it's been challenging. They've got stores, particularly in fashion, full of coats and jumpers that no one's wanted. And yet you go out there's a cold snap this morning. But it doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be hordes of people queuing at M&S's door. If Zara has come up with something on fashion, Primark's come with something on price, the more market brands like Reiss have really, brought in an older consumer, then I think there's something for everything there already, and you've got to change that buying habit back. So yeah, discounting is going to be essential strategy for all retail right now up into Christmas, but use it strategically.
Is it the variety of Zara and Primark, or is it Next? Is it Next that continues to
and Next aren't finding things
M&S?
Easy, are they?
No, I mean, but they have had their first profit warning for ages, but they do seem to be the giant that grew in Marks & Spencer's shadow.
As I said, it's 5 years in retail, and it's been a very different 5 years in retail to that of 15 years ago, 20 years ago when I started my career. So, you're seeing the open up of the internet, a very savvy customer, more confident, more fashionable in what they want, and definitely less loyal. They don't need to be loyal to one retailer anymore. They're not going to get the same reassurances of that returns policy where they can return something from 10 years ago. So they're going to be looking for what suits them, the right price, the right quality, and the right fashion. And I think there's so much choice out there that you've got to work so hard. Retailers have to work so hard to get you through the door. It isn't a case of opening the shutters anymore and they will come. And therefore, you have to be very respectful of your customer. You have to communicate what you're about, and you have to be consistent on that.
And it's not as if they can grow the food side of things to make up for the loss of leeway in the retail, the clothing side of things. I mean, the food retail side is still a bit nichey, isn't it? Whereas, you know, the hard profits have always come traditionally from fashion. And unless they get the fashion right, the company's going to be half the size.
Well, I think the food proposition by itself is a really interesting thing to look at, because I think, you know, they have attracted a wider marketplace in there by being value, and they haven't lost that quality in being value. So some people will reach up to that. Some people will use that as a weekly shop. So, I mean, how can you get that traction? How do you get that footfall then to interact with the other departments, however small they may be? I know they're talking about 10% less on the floor. It's not about having loads of stuff and piling it high, and, you know, it's about having the right stuff on the floor. And yes, the question will be, we have a lot of different customers wanting a lot of different things from us. Well, you need to work out who you are, what you're selling to, whoever that customer base is, and deliver it brilliantly, because things are getting lost in translation. And you might have one fashion guru saying they've got some great pieces in amongst, but if you don't have the stock to satisfy that, or if that's not in some of your regional stores, you're going to disappoint people once again.
Kate, thank you very much. That is Kate Hardcastle. Mark your cards also that I will be speaking to the boss of Marks & Spencer, Mark Bolland. He'll be on 5 Live Breakfast just before 8 o'clock. Listen out for that. And as I said, we'll be bringing those results at 7.